You clicked on this video for a reason, and I want to guarantee right now that by the end of this video, you will be able to achieve that goal that you had in mind when clicking on this video. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to tell you to starve yourself, but what I am going to tell you is some actionable steps that you can actually take and implement into your life, along with some science-backed information to make sure that you achieve that goal. If you don't know who I am, my name is Troxell, and for the past 4 years, I have built a physique and discipline system that some people would consider exceptional. But most people never achieve that, not because they lack the motivation, but because they lack the underlying systems of what builds that body and mind. Alright, so you know who I am, you know why you're here, and let's actually get into some actionable steps that you can actually start to implement into your life to make sure that you achieve that goal. Now, you've probably heard it before, but I want to set a prerequisite for this video to kind of help you understand the mental frame that you need to step into to actually make this video work. And it goes like this. If it were easy, everyone would have it. Therefore, it wouldn't be valuable. The beauty is that it's not. Therefore, it is hard to get, and in turn it makes it valuable, and that's why you want it. So, if you're expecting something easy, this video is not for you. And you can just click off now. Now that those people are gone, and the people who are actually willing to put in the work and do what it takes to achieve this goal, let's start to get into the first pillar of how to achieve this goal. So the first pillar is diet. Now, you've probably heard the phrase before, abs are made in the kitchen. Now, while that's only partially true, because you can't just diet and hope that you get the abs of a Mr. Olympia. But what is true is that diet is a crucial part of getting abs. This is because if you train your abs into oblivion while staying at 30% body fat, you're still never going to see those abs. So let's walk through a diet of how to actually get abs. And what you're going to need is a calorie deficit. And this is commonly referred to as cutting. So what you're going to need to do is to start a cut. The first step is to identify your maintenance calories. Real quick, if you don't know where to start with your diet, the first thing that you need to do is find your maintenance calories. Now, I have built a custom free tool built exactly for that. All that you have to do is fill out a quick survey with your height, your weight, etc., and it will spit back your maintenance calories. Now, it will also give you a rough estimate of the amount of calories that you need to eat to either cut or bulk. That's it. No email, no phone number, all free. Links in the description. By doing this, you're getting the amount of calories that you need to work off of. Alright, so a calorie deficit in a nutshell is basically you take that number that you got from the maintenance calorie calculator, and based on at the rate at which you want to cut, you adjust how many calories that you eat under that number. So if you want to cut faster, you eat more calories under that number. And if you want to cut slower, you eat fewer calories under that number. Now, the calculator will give you a recommended amount of calories that you need to eat to go on that cut, and I recommend following that. Because if you end up going to this dramatic, horrendous cut, and you're just eating like 1,000 calories under your maintenance calories, you're going to end up burning out, and nobody wants that because like I said, you clicked on this video for a reason, and you had a goal in mind, and burning out's not going to get you to that goal. Set your cut rate at a rate that you can personally sustain. And now I want to say that doesn't mean not dieting at all, because a lot of people, what's personally comfortable for them is just staying in their diet that they have right now, and it's not going to get you to your goals. The next thing with diet is to try to prioritize whole nutritious foods, because I'm going to be honest, it doesn't really matter what your food comes from, but the challenge with cutting is to keep your macros that the calculator gives you and trying to keep that within your calorie range. But whole nutritious foods, it gives you that ability to keep your macros within your calories. Okay, so you have your diet down and you're starting your cut. You got the information that you need to start your diet, to start getting those abs. Now what we want to do is actually train them, because we actually want to make them bigger so they can show more. Now, we've all seen how to get abs in 30-minute videos, but what those tell you to do is just to do endless reps just to get a pump. And that is not what we're doing here. Now, it's kind of funny because people, they want to take a different approach to abs unlike what they would do with any other muscle. It makes sense to progressive overload your chest, your shoulders, your legs, but nobody ever thinks about progressively overloading their abs. If you keep doing static holds and just endless bodyweight reps, you're not going to trigger that progressive overload, and therefore you're not going to start to trigger hypertrophy. Therefore, your abs aren't going to grow. So when it comes to training your abs, you have 3 parts of the actual abdominal muscles. And the muscle groups that we can break them down into is upper, lower, and obliques. To train your upper abs, you want to have some sort of weighted crunch. Now, the best one that I recommend is weighted cable crunches. These get a good stretch in the muscle and they're great for progressive overload. Now, for the lower abs, these are going to be your leg movements. And what that means is to engage the lower abs, you're going to have to move your legs or your knees to engage them. And the best one that I recommend is to grab a decline bench, lay down reverse on it, and grab the top of it and start to do leg raises. And if you can, the best thing that I recommend personally is to try to lift your hips up at the end of the movement. Now for the obliques, there's a lot of controversy of whether or not they make your waist blocky or not. But I'm not here to judge that or make a judgment on that. But to train your obliques, you're going to go back on the decline bench and put your feet in the top part, use the decline bench how it's supposed to be used, and then you're going to start to do side crunches. Alright, so you have your diet down, your training down, and you're on track to getting those abs. Now, the last thing is supplements. Now, I want to preface this module with there's absolutely no supplement on the entire planet that's going to get you the abs that you want. But what I can tell you is that the first 2 pillars that we discovered in this video, the diet and the training, they are the pillars that are going to absolutely and asymmetrically fuel the growth of the visual appearance of your abs. So what supplements can do is help fuel the first 2 pillars. So supplements can help fuel the diet and fuel the training. So the first one that I recommend is a good protein powder. Because like I said earlier, the struggle with dieting is keeping your macros within your calories. And what a protein shake does is it's very easy protein. And it's calorie efficient protein, meaning that it's literally like the minimal amount of calories that you would be able to consume to get that protein in. And like you could compare this to like getting your protein from another source that costs way more calories. It's way easier to just make a protein shake and then eat that instead of eating some very calorie dense food. And the second one is, we all know it and love it, is pre-workout. And what that does is it's not going to help you get abs, but what it can do is it can help you start to get a better pump and train harder in your sessions. And that in turn starts to trigger hypertrophy, because if you're training harder, you have better mechanical tension. Therefore, you're going to grow more and you're going to grow those abs more. And caffeine, there's been some links of it proving that it can kind of help burn more calories, therefore helping with your dieting. But we're just going to keep that where it's at. It could help, but we don't know for a fact. And the last one, the most researched supplement on the planet, is creatine. Now, we all know about it. There's been suspicions of it being a steroid, but it's not. It is the most researched supplement on the planet. All that it does is helps your muscles look fuller and it makes you stronger. Now, it's not going to go be like anabolic steroids and make you deadlift 700 pounds, but it can help. It can help with the visual appearance and the feeling of your body. So now you know how to diet and get abs, and that's a calorie deficit. Now you know the 3 exercises to train your abs, the three most asymmetric exercises to get the best output with training your abs. And now you know the supplements that you need to take or that you can supplement your journey with, and that is protein powder, pre workout, and creatine. Like I said in the beginning, this is a guaranteed way to get that goal that you had in mind when clicking on this video. Because if you follow these steps that I stated in this video with absolute ruthlessness, and you don't give up and you don't veer off the path, you will get those abs. And follow these steps to get the abs that you want. I'm Gunnar Troxell, and as always, get jacked.